I want you to write down one limiting belief. So it could be, I'll never be, and I'll tend to say things like weight or something related to the kids or work or something, because it's usually our limiting beliefs are our hot button items. So for example, I'll say, oh, I was born a size 12, so there's no way I'll ever be a size 7, or I'll never have long hair, or I'll never be a CEO, those types of things. And then I want you to focus on that belief for just a minute. There are 3 questions I'm going to ask you about this belief, and I want you to keep a really open mind as you think through it. So the first thing is, how long have you had this belief? Like, is this something that you've just known since childhood? Is this something that maybe you tried something and didn't have the result you were looking for? Like, where does this originate from? Based on that belief, question number 2 is, are there any exceptions to that rule? So for example, if my limiting belief was money is the root of all evil, for example, the second question where I ask, is there any exception to that rule? Are people with a lot of money evil? If that's the case, if your limiting belief is true, right, because it's something you've known since childhood or is it your experience, are there any exceptions to that rule? So like in my case, if mine was money is the root of all evil, and then I ask if there's any exceptions, I would say, well, for example, Oprah Winfrey is rich, but she's not evil. My last question is, based on your limiting belief that you originally had and the exception, if you have a limiting belief that we've been able to prove that at least in some cases is wrong, or if there's an exception, does that make your limiting belief a fact? What does it take to be a fact? Any fact, whether it's, scientific, whether it's, something that you like to do or eat, what makes a fact, I guess, for lack of a better word. To be a fact, right? It has to be a truth all the time. So if you take it back to our limiting belief, if you look at the word belief, lies right in the midst of it. Our limiting beliefs are literally lies. They're lies that we've either been raised with, either untruths that, we've come to, for some reason or another, see ourselves through. It's basically something our psyche has taken in and it has just developed like this resistance, if you call it that, to it. This is the part where, how do we rewrite this into an empowering statement? An example of that where you would say, in the past, I used to believe that some salespeople were grimy, for example, or unethical. And now I'm learning to feel that more, that there are other ways to do business. Maybe that, less salespeople are, unethical than I thought to achieve my goals, that I can be the example of what a good salesperson looks like to achieve my goals. You're basically making a bridge, you're making a connection between both sides of the talk, because the ideas we had at the beginning as the limiting beliefs have been ingrained in our head, right? It's been something that we have in the back of our minds, whether we say it or not. And whether it's, you say it out loud, whether it's something that, you talk about on a regular basis, whether it's something that you journal about, whether it's just your thoughts, once you begin to kind of break it down and say, wait a minute, why do I think that that's, XYZ? Why do I see this right now? And you begin to ask yourself those questions, then that basically dismantles whatever it is that you were thinking. And then by going through that process and recreating this belief, and I know we don't always have time to kind of go through the whole writing this down and stuff, but if you take the time to do that with the things that are really meaningful to you, the practice of slowing down your thoughts, the practice of really thinking them through logically, almost like in a black and white kind of way, helps to rewire, so to speak, or retrain our thoughts that, I used to think that, but I was really wrong. It was XYZ. That's why I think it's important that we kind of slow things down. Those automatic thoughts that we have are where usually our most disempowering beliefs lie. And if we stop for a minute just to say, what? Let me see if this is true. Why is this true? Where does it come from? Number 1, number 2, are there any exceptions? And number 3, how can you basically say that a lie is a fact, right? And if it's not a fact, then rewire it, rewrite it in a way that it does make sense. And it's not something that happens presto changeo. It's something that you have to kind of do and practice, and you keep saying it. You keep remembering that whatever it is, is the situation. Like if I ever spot that in somebody else, I can say to them, hey, look, you may have been told XYZ growing up, or somebody may have made fun of you or whatever the case might be, but that's not true because these are the things that you've done.